Hello viewers and welcome to today's lessons in rudiments and theory. Today we are going to talk about the element of pitch part 2, which deals with the chromatic alterations. Previously we were talking about pitch and then pitch class, and then we said that a pitch is the relative highness or lowness of a sound, and then the term pitch is also used to describe specific tones. We also talked about pitch class being a generic designation referring to sounds or tones sounding the same but are separated by relative highness or lowness. We also talked about the staff being the 5-line system used to locate pitches. And then we said the grand staff is a system of 2 5-line staves spanning the complete usable range of pitches with the use of ledger lines. We also made mention of clefs being a specialized symbols denoting specific pitches on a staff, of which all other pitches are located in relation to these. And then the last thing that we talked about was ledger lines being horizontal dashes that are used to extend the range of a given staff, whether above or below its 5-line boundaries. Today we are going to talk about the element of pitch part 2, where we are going to lay more emphasis on chromatic alterations. But before that, let's look at our learning goals for today. Our first objective for today is to define diatonic pitches and then chromatic alterations. Then we are also going to define musica ficta, what musica ficta is, accidentals, and then precautionary accidentals. We are also going to look at the enharmonic equivalents of these various pitches. So let's define the following terms. When we talk of diatonic, what do we mean by diatonic? A diatonic denotes pitches that occur naturally in a theoretical system of music with respect to its components. So any pitch that occurs naturally. A simplistic or incorrect view will describe diatonic pitches as the white note on the piano, which must not be so. But simply, diatonic refers to pitches that occur naturally in a framework, in a theoretical system of music with respect to the component it belongs to. Then we can also talk about the word chromatic. When chromatic comes to mind, it is talking about or the word chromatic comes from the Greek word chromos, which means color. Now, in early music, this term was employed to describe pitches lying outside of the theoretical collection of pitches and pitches that were altered for various reasons. So the term chromaticism refers to those altered pitches that lie outside the range of particular collection of pitches. So we will hear the word chromaticism from time to time to describe those altered pitches and their effects in music. Now, when we talk of the musica ficta, early music made use of a fixed number of pitches organized into a system of overlapping 6-tone sequence. And as compositional styles evolved and new resources added, composers were altering pitches for a variety of reasons. Sometimes the pitch was considered too hard and was therefore softened or lowered, and sometimes pitches were altered or raised to provide a more pronounced resolution to a following pitch. These altered pitches were called musica ficta, and musica ficta was actually known to be false music. That is what it was contrived to be. So a contrived or a feigned music. That was the meaning of the musica ficta, because the original pitches were altered, either raised or lowered. And originally, the conditional use of these alterations was understood, therefore it was not notated. But in time, the symbols representing an altered pitch were added above the note, almost as an editorial marking. And eventually these symbols were incorporated into music, preceding the notes they modified. So this talking about the diatonic, the chromatic, and then the musical fixer. So we are saying that the diatonic are notes, or they are pitches that occur naturally, whereas chromatics are foreign notes that are outside the pitch collection, or that are outside the theoretical system of pitches. And then the musical fixer being the altered pitches that were originally used, and then it depicts the thin or false music. Now let's go to accidentals. When we talk of accidentals, what comes into our mind? The symbols that were altered, or the symbols that were used to alter the pitches, were now called accidentals. And what are accidentals? Accidentals are those specialized symbols used to show chromatic alterations. That is, they were used to raise a note, they were used to lower a note, or they were used to naturalize a note back to its original state. So the need for these alterations came about because of our inheritance flawed system of notating pitch. And then we have 12 pitches in our system, yet only 7 letters are considered. And accidentals accommodate these alterations. The sharp sign, the sharp sign, which is looking like a hash sound, is used to raise a pitch. And then the flat sign, which looks like a lowercase b, lowers a pitch. Now the natural sign cancels any other accidental. We can also have the double flat and a double sharp, which may sometimes occur occasionally, and their use are determined by concepts or in different contexts. So let's look at some of the accidentals that we have. We can have the sharp sign. This is the sharp sign, so which looks like a hash sign. Then we can have the flat sign, which looks like the lowercase b. Then we have the natural sign. There's a combination of the sharp and the flat. So you see the diagram like this, which is also used to cancel out any accidental or any other altered pitch. So this is the double sharp sign, and then this is the double flat sign. This one looks like an X. This one looks like a double small letter b. Now we can say that accidentals are always placed before the notes that they modify. They are never behind. As a notational convenience, an accidental will stay in effect throughout the measure where it occurs. So if you have any accidental that is occurring just in the same measure, it is going to affect it. Let's look at the precautionary accidental. We have already learned that the third line of the treble staff is the C. Now we have also said that accidentals are never placed behind. They are never placed behind, as in this, but they are placed before the note. So this is a note or a pitch C, and then an accidental has been placed on it, which is a sharp. So when I'm naming this one, I'm going to name this one as a C sharp. A C sharp, not a sharp C. So this is a C sharp. If I'm also naming this one falls on a B line. So this is going to give me a B, and then it is being affected by an accidental, which is a flat. So this one is going to give me a B flat. B flat. Now this one is the natural sign. It comes to restore the accidental. It comes to cancel out the accidental. So you could see that it has been placed on it. This one, without this one, is still the natural C. But we say that this is the natural C. This is the natural C. So you could see that there is no C flat, no C sharp, but it's C natural. We don't normally write the natural when we are writing. So we can also look at a C which is being affected by a double sharp. I made mention of a double sharp being like an X. So an X being placed before the note gives us a C double sharp. Then we can have this one to a B double flat. So these are some of the precautionary accidentals that we have. So we said that as a notational convenience, an accidental will stay in effect throughout the measure where it occurs, and any repetition of that modified notes within the measure remains modified. Okay, the notes revert to its diatonic form in subsequent measures, but in much music of the modern era, accidentals only modify those notes that they immediately precede. And if this is the case, or if this being the case, it is so indicated in performance notes. Often, however, as a reminder, composers will place a precautionary accidental before the note that was previously chromatically altered. So you could see that this one has been altered already. So precautionary accidentals, they will just place an accidental, precautionary accidental, to depict that the note was originally altered, so that it will come to the normal or the natural sign. So we can have some examples of the notes here. We have the line F, which has been altered, and this is given as F sharp. The line G, which has been altered by a sharp sign, so we get G sharp. Please take note, if you see it in this way, you shouldn't mention it as a sharp G. It is an error to do so. So when it happens like that, you mention the pitch first, and then you add the accidental to it, whether it is a sharp or a flat, a double flat, or a double sharp, or a natural. So this is G sharp. Then, because we said they are in the same bar, this sharp is being affected. Okay, this sharp is affecting all the F's here. So this F is also F sharp and not F. If the composer or the writer is trying to tell you that this is a natural F, he will just alter this pitch and then bring the natural sign there. But so far as they belong in the same bar, it means that this sharp is affecting this note, and then this one ceases to be an F natural, but it becomes what? An F sharp. The same goes to this one. Because this sharp is being affected, all this line will be affected until there is a bar line to determine, or to tell us that this bar has ended. So therefore, any note outside of this one, unless being altered, cancels automatically the accidentals that are affecting it. So you could see that all these notes are after this, and then they have been restated, or they have been emphasized that this one now becomes a natural because they have placed the natural sign on this, and then G becomes a natural because they have placed a natural sign on it. And this one has been affected because there is a flat sign just against the pitch. Now let's go to enharmonic equivalents. Enharmonic equivalents are simply notes which have the same sound but are being spelled differently. We say enharmonic because all pitches, but chromatic pitches especially, may be spelled in different ways, and these different spellings are context dependent, or they are a matter of convenience. So we are going to look at some of the enharmonic equivalents in the next slide, but we should also know that the same pitch space are being shared, but they employ different spellings, and they are called enharmonic equivalents. So when we are talking of enharmonic equivalents, we are saying that enharmonic equivalent describes pitches that share the same pitch space, or that they sound identical, but they are spelled differently. They have the same sound, but they have two different names. So we can say that enharmonic equivalence is an attribute that will come to have a greater significance as our argument progresses. So let's look at the next slide and see what it actually means. This one is having a C sharp, and this is a D flat, but the sound of this will be the same. Unfortunately, I don't have my piano here. You would have heard the sound of a C sharp and a D flat, and then you will see, if you have a piano by yourself, you should practice playing a C sharp and a D flat, and you see that the sound are the same, but they have two different names. This is what we mean by an enharmonic equivalence. So looking at the charts below, you see that a C sharp is equivalent to a D flat. Likewise, a D sharp will definitely be equivalent to an E flat, because if it moves forward a half step, when it gets to the next pitch, it has to move back by a half step. So likewise, F sharp being enharmonic equivalent to G flat, we have G sharp being equivalent to A flat, we have A sharp being equivalent to B flat, E sharp being equivalent to F, F flat being equivalent to E natural, then we have B sharp being equivalent to C, then we have C flat being equivalent to B natural. Please, you have to take note of this, because enharmonic equivalents can be very confusing at times. So let's look at the next chart here, which says that the enharmonic equivalent pitches are shown by ties. So you can see that this is a C natural, but this is a C sharp, and then enharmonically this and this sound the same, but they have two different spellings. One is a D flat, one is a C sharp. D flat and C sharp are never the same, but if it is being played, they sound the same. We have a D natural, a D sharp, and an E flat. They may sound the same, but when writing, they are different. So we have E and F, F sharp to G flat, they sound the same, but they are spelled differently. We have G natural, G sharp, and A flat, they sound the same, but they are spelled differently. We have A natural, A sharp, and B flat, they sound the same, but are spelled differently. So this is what is meant by an enharmonic equivalence. Let's try the following exercises. So with this one, you have to tell me, or you have to write the enharmonic equivalence of the following pitches. So you can have a C sharp. So what will be the enharmonic equivalent of a C sharp? You just write it in your jotter, or you provide the answer there. A D sharp, and what is the enharmonic equivalent of a D sharp? You just provide your answer. The enharmonic equivalent of F sharp, you just provide your answer. The enharmonic equivalent of G sharp, you just provide your answer. The enharmonic equivalent of A sharp, you just provide your answer. So this one deals with all the sharp sign accidentals, or all the sharp sign chromatic alterations. And we have the flat sign chromatic alterations. When we have D flat, D flat has what to be an enharmonic alteration, you just put it there. E flat has what is equivalent to what, just put it there. G flat, A flat, and then B flat, they are all in our previous lesson. So after trying this, you compare your answers to the previous slide, and then you mark yourself and you see. After that, you can try playing them on the piano. If they do not sound the same, then it means that there might be a problem in your answers. So C sharp, for instance, should sound the same as your enharmonic equivalent, which will be a D flat. The overview, we have another assignment here, which is also going to talk about what we just said. So this one has been mixed up. You try this once, and then we'll look at the answers. So we have B sharp. The enharmonic equivalent of B sharp is what? We have E sharp. Enharmonic equivalent of E sharp is what? You just write your answers down. F flat, will be what? C flat will be what? E sharp will be what? So you write the enharmonic equivalence down. Then we also have C sharp, okay, that is appearing on a ledger line because we have this space to be what? E, this line to be F, G, A, B, and C. And we've said that C is 2 ledger lines above the treble staff. So this is C sharp. Enharmonic equivalence of C sharp is what? This is B. Enharmonic equivalence of B is what? This is E. Enharmonic equivalence of E is what? This is F. Enharmonic equivalence of F is what? Then this is C. Enharmonic equivalence of C will also be what? Overview. Now you should be able to understand what diatonic and chromatic pitches are because we have elaborated them in the previous in the opening passages of our lessons, and we say that diatonic are pitches that are naturally in the pitch collections, or they are in the theoretical system of the pitches, whereas chromatics are foreigners, or they are altered pitches that are outside of the theoretical system. You should also be able to understand what a music affector is, what an accidental is, and what precautionary accidentals are. And the last thing, you should also be able to understand what enharmonic equivalents mean and then what they are. And we've already said that enharmonic equivalents are pitches which sound the same but are spelled differently, or they are written differently. Okay. Thank you, and I hope to see you in our next lesson, which is coming out soon. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment box, and don't forget to subscribe for new videos and new e-learning. Have a wonderful day.